The 2016 FireKeepers Casino 400 was a NASCAR Sprint Cup Series stock car race held on June 12, 2016 at Michigan International Speedway in Brooklyn, Michigan, contested over 200 laps on the 2-mile D-shaped oval. It was the 15th race of the 2016 NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. The race had 14 lead changes among different drivers and 9 cautions for 46 laps. Background: the race was held at Michigan International Speedway, a 2-mile moderate bank D-shaped speedway located in Brooklyn, Michigan. The track is used primarily for NASCAR events. It is sometimes known as a sister track to Texas World Speedway, and was used as the basis of Auto Club Speedway. The track is owned by International Speedway Corporation. Michigan International Speedway is recognized as one of motorsport's premier facilities because of its wide racing surface and high banking. Aero package. 2 weeks prior to the race, NASCAR announced they will test changes to the aero package. NASCAR Executive Vice President and Chief Racing Development Officer Steve O'Donnell said that NASCAR looks at it as a never-ending journey. If we can improve, we're going to do that. We wanted to go the direction of low downforce. See how that worked. Not kind of go all the way in and hope that we are directionally right. And we're seeing that play out. We've seen some great racing at the beginning of the year, but we also knew that we had some more levers that we could pull if the direction kind of proved out. So they tried some of those things. They tested it, and what they also wanted to do is lower some of the corner speeds to allow for even more passing. That was one of the areas where they seen minimal change, but there are some levers we can pull to really drive that down. Entry list. The preliminary entry list for the race include 40 cars and was released on June 3, 2016 at 12:29 p.m. ET. First practice. Chase Elliott was the fastest in the first practice session with a time of 35.709 and a speed of 201.630 miles per hour. Qualifying. Joey Logano scored the pole for the race with a time of 36.080 and a speed of 199.557 miles per hour. A lot of fun out there. Martin Truex Jr. said after qualifying second, slipping and sliding as the track got hot and slick. I like where we are with this package, and tomorrow we'll fine-tune what we have. Take the tape off and get dialed in for the race. After qualifying third, Tony Stewart said his team is gaining on it. We've just got to get a little break here to get going. We were going good last week. The guy that won the race, our teammate. The session was halted in the first round after David Reagan spun out and tagged the wall with his right rear corner. Qualifying results. Practice post-qualifying. Second practice. Carl Edwards was the fastest in the second practice session with a time of 36.406 and speed of 197.770 miles per hour. Final practice. Austin Dillon led the final practice session with a lap time of 37.056 and speed of 194.301 miles per hour. Race. First half. Start. Under mostly sunny Michigan skies, Joey Logano led the field to the green at 1:19 p.m. He got loose in turn 1 and Martin Truex Jr. took the lead. In the first 10 laps, a number of drivers were reporting being incredibly loose because of the changes made to the aero package. Logano made his back to the lead on lap 11. By lap 25, Truex began reeling him in for the race lead. Green flag stops began around lap 39. Logano pitted from the lead 2 laps later and handed it to teammate Brad Keselowski. Landon Cassill was tagged for his crew being over the wall too soon and was forced to serve a pass-through penalty. Keselowski ran out of gas on the front stretch on lap 46. He was saved by Truex spinning out in turn 3, which brought out the first caution of the race. He made it to pit road and the lead cycled back to Logano. Second quarter. The race restarted on lap 51. Kyle Busch's car caught fire in the engine area and blew up on the backstretch. The race restarted on lap 61. The third caution of the race flew on lap 62 for a 2-car wreck on the backstretch. Exiting turn 2, Chris Buescher got loose and tapped the left rear corner of Dale Earnhardt Jr. He got loose, came across the nose of A.J. Allmendinger and sent them both into the wall. Earnhardt continued down the backstretch and spun down the track. The race restarted on lap 69. A number of cars began pitting on lap 93. Logano pitted the next lap and handed the lead to Kyle Larson. He pitted the next lap and handed the lead to Keselowski. He pitted on lap 99 and handed the lead to Jimmy Johnson. The fourth caution of the race flew on lap 102 for Jeffrey Earnhardt slamming the wall in turn 2. Johnson pitted under the caution and the lead cycled back to Logano. Eric Almirola was tagged for having too many crew members over the wall and restarted the race from the tail end of the field. Second half. Halfway. The race restarted on lap 107. The fifth caution of the race flew on lap 109 after Jeffrey Earnhardt's car caught on fire after slamming the wall a second time on the backstretch. The race restarted with 84 laps to go. Logano didn't get a good restart and lost the lead to Chase Elliott. The sixth caution of the race flew with 53 laps to go after Regan Smith made contact with the wall, and debris was scattered on the backstretch. Elliott and Logano swapped the lead on pit road, but Elliott exited with the lead. Fourth quarter. The race restarted with 47 laps to go. Elliott got a lousy restart and lost the lead to Logano. The seventh caution of the race flew with 46 to go after a multi-car wreck on the backstretch. Exiting turn 2, Casey Mears got into the wall, clipped Danica Patrick, who then clipped Brian Scott and sent him head-on into the outside wall. The race restarted with 40 laps to go. The eighth caution of the race flew with 38 laps to go for a single-car wreck in turn 2. Rounding the turn, Ryan Blaney got loose and slammed the wall. Not far behind, Trevor Bayne got into Johnson and he was slight contact with the wall. The race restarted with 33 laps to go. In the last 20 laps, Elliott began closing the deficit down to under a second. The ninth caution of the race flew with 12 laps to go for a single-car wreck on the front stretch. Crossing the start-finish line, Denny Hamlin suffered a left rear tire blowout, spun through the grass and hit the inside wall. Post-race. Driver comments. Logano said after the race that it was a crazy race with the low downforce and with more cautions and more opportunity to screw up pretty much. What a fun race, racing with Chase and Kyle Larson. It is fun to see the young guys up there racing. I am not alone up there as a young guy anymore. I have guys up there younger than me racing for a win. ? Despite earning a career-best finish of second, Elliott said it was not a good day. Nope, not a good day, and that he can do dumb stuff and expect to win this thing. When you do dumb stuff, you don't win. I did dumb stuff today. ? It was a solid run for us. ? Larson said, they've been consistent as they've been in the last year and a half anyways. So it's nice to be running up front and getting closer to a win. Still got some work to do, but it is nice when we can get a package like this thrown at us just a few weeks before the race. And our guys at the shop and here at the racetrack can look at engineering data and come up with a good piece? Question mark. Media comments. If Sunday's FireKeepers Casino 400 were a school science project, it was worthy of a B-. NASCAR's latest incarnation of a rules package designed to take away aerodynamic downforce in the pursuit of better racing was on display at Ms. After a weekend of practice and qualifying that didn't answer many questions prior to the race starting. A feeling of unknown permeated the start of the race. As it turned out, the race was won by a driver that dominated in Joey Logano, leading 138 laps on his way to victory lane. But the box score doesn't tell the entire story. The loose feel of the race cars that featured minuscule spoilers and other aerodynamic tweaks created a wild and woolly style of racing, at least throughout the field. But at the front of the field, the dreaded clean air term still was in play, and the other drivers that led the 61 laps, Logano didn't clearly had the advantage once they were in the top spot. There were other stretches where the field was strung out around the track for several laps. The experimentation is an ongoing process, and NASCAR officials will sift through the data and information of Sunday's race and no doubt use those takeaways to develop the 2017 rules package. The Michigan rules will be used again next month at Kentucky to provide more feedback. Overall, the feeling throughout the garage is one of optimism as NASCAR keeps tinkering with the formula. Quote, Motor Racing Network lead writer and co-host of the Morning Drive on SiriusXM NASCAR Radio Pete Stone giving his thoughts on the FireKeepers Casino 400. Pete Stone of the Motor Racing Network and SiriusXM NASCAR Radio said that it was worthy of a B-. The cars being loose created a wild and woolly style of racing, at least throughout the field. But that clean air still was in play, and the other drivers that led the 61 laps, Logano didn't clearly had the advantage once they were in the top spot, and that the package is an ongoing process, and NASCAR officials will sift through the data and information of Sunday's race and no doubt use those takeaways to develop the 2017 rules package. Quote, Sean Windsor of the Detroit Free Press said that lowering the downforce on the front of the cars let drivers rip along the long, wide straightaways at Ms. pushing 220 meters mph. The increased speed, and alternately slower corner speed, meant drivers had more opportunity to maneuver and actually drive their cars. Quote, he also noted that the speed difference between the turns and the straightaway was as much as 40 mph. This means, in theory, drivers have a chance to really maneuver as they hit the stretch. And that means they need more control of their cars, which NASCAR aimed to give them with the new rules that let teams lower the downforce. The flip side, as Logano pointed out, is that extra speed and more bunched-together drivers, feeling like they have more control, is a recipe for disaster. That recipe might be good for ratings. However, everyone agrees the sport needs more passing, more jockeying. It's in the heat of the scrum that reveals personalities, shows us who is willing to live on the edge and who is not. Quote, Matt Weaver of Auto Week said that, one race with the extra reduced downforce configurations. Race results. Race summary. Media. Television. Fox NASCAR televised the race in the United States on FS1 for the second consecutive year. Mike Joy was the lap-by-lap announcer, while three-time Michigan winner Jeff Gordon and two-time winner Darrell Waltrip were the color commentators. Jamie Little, Vince Welch and Matt Yoakum reported from pit lane during the race. Radio coverage of the race was broadcast by Motor Racing Network, MRN, and simulcasted on SiriusXM NASCAR Radio. Joe Moore, Jeff Striegel and five-time Michigan winner Rusty Wallace announced the race in the booth while the field is racing on the front stretch. Dave Moody called the race from a billboard outside of Turn 2 when the field was racing through Turns 1 and 2. Mike Bagley called the race from a platform outside of Turn 3 when the field was racing through Turns 3 and 4. Alex Hayden, Winston Kelly and Pete Peastone reported from pit lane during the race. Standings after the race.